What's up everyone? Happy New Year. Welcome back to my channel. I know I haven't posted a video in a while, and that is because I have been sick since the beginning of the year, if you can't tell from my voice. But I got out of bed today because I wanted to share my swatch and review of the new Cadillacquer Winter polishes. They're currently on pre-order and they're only on pre-order for a few more days. So I really wanted to share these with you. The Cadillacquer polishes are always so coveted. Let me just do that and then I will get back into bed. So if you haven't heard of Cadillacquer before, they are an independent nail polish brand that is based in Switzerland, but they are available internationally, and all their polishes are 5-free, meaning they are free of 5 of the potentially harmful ingredients that can be found in nail polish. They're vegan, meaning they do not use any animal-derived ingredients, and they're also cruelty-free, meaning they do not test their products on animals. And like I said, they just released this new winter collection. They're currently on pre-order until January 12th. We've got 6 brand new nail polishes, and they're all thermal color-changing polishes that are packed with iridescent flakies. So let me get into the swatches. I'm going to use water to show you how the color shift works. So I've got cold water and hot water, but you don't need water specifically in order to get the color change. When I wear thermal polishes, they kind of just change throughout the day depending on how cold or warm my fingers are. So yeah, let's do the swatches. Then we can talk a little bit more about pricing, availability, all that good stuff. So roll the swatch footage. So as usual, I am using base coat underneath all of my swatches just to protect my natural nail and prevent any stains. Today it's the Orly Bonder base. Okay, so first up we have a strange type of chemistry, and this was the shade I was the most excited about, unsurprisingly, because this one is a purple to blue thermal shift. So in its cold state, it's this really beautiful, vibrant purple base, and then when it warms up, it becomes this beautiful sky blue kind of color, and then within that, it's also packed with these blue and red iridescent flakies. So we've got a lot of different sizes in there. They soften up a lot when the polish is in its warm state. They almost have like a pastel kind of look to them just because of that lighter blue color, and then they get a little deeper and richer in the purple. So I just think this one is so stunning and really a unique combination of flakies and colors. Next up we have the shade Everything Will Change, and this one is actually a blue to white thermal. So at first glance it seems like this blue is the same as the one in the last color, but this one is a little bit deeper and slightly dustier of a blue, and then in its warm state it becomes a white. And to be honest, I'm not usually a huge fan of color to white thermals just because I think it's a little bit simple, but for some reason combined with the flakies it becomes this beautiful opalescent polish, and I think that that is absolutely beyond stunning. Now this one I did end up doing 3 coats for opacity. I didn't mention it in the last polish. That one I only needed 2 for opacity because both colors were on the more opaque side. Normally I apply polishes that are thermal anticipating that the lightest color is going to be needing the most opacity. I'm not making that much sense right now. Sorry, I'm sick. Usually you'll need another coat just to account for the lightest color, but in that case I didn't need it. In this case I did need a third because it was a white. Moving on, we have the shade The Quiet Chaos, and this one is a deep forest green color when it's in its cold state, and then it shifts into white in its warm state as well. And this is another one that I wasn't sure if I was gonna love, but I ended up being so into just because I love the way that it looks in the warm state, which I was pretty surprised by. Again, I don't always love that shift to white, but especially with all the colors of the iridescent flakies in there, I thought it looked so stunning. And I think it's such a unique combination of colors of flakies, especially with that foresty green color, and it's just such a striking difference. So you really see the nail color shifting a lot, and I thought that was really fun. This was another one that I ended up doing in 3 coats just to account for the white color. So now moving on, we have 3 black thermal polishes. This first one is called Look at the Stars, and this one is a black that shifts into a light sky blue that has a slight dustiness to it, and each of these black polishes also has a different color of iridescent flaky in it. This one actually has a lot of colors going on in here. It kind of leans a little bit warm, so we've got a lot of orange and pink and yellow and a little bit of like a purpley color. And I started off with 2 coats, but I realized when I was showing you the thermal color shift that in its lighter state that blue was a little bit more sheer than I expected it to be. So I do think that this one needs to be a 3-coater, so I ended up actually doing 3 coats and then showing the color shift as well. So here's what it looks like in 3 coats. And I think the opacity of that turned out a lot better. And again, that color with the flakies in its warm state is just so beautiful and opalescent. And I just think it's such a fun and very stark color shift. So I really enjoyed that. Next up, we have Hiding from the Real World. And this one is another black to color thermal shift. So this one shifts from black in its cold state into an orchid color in its warm state. And the flakies in this one are a little bit different. This time we have a lot more of the cool tones. So a really heavy focus on the greens and blues with a little bit of a pinky color in there. And this was another one that was a 2-coater on me in both the warm state and the cold state, which I thought was really impressive. And I just love how stark the difference is between these 2 colors. I think when you're working with thermals and they have such an intense color shift, it becomes so much more noticeable on your nails, and it's honestly just so much fun and distracting to play around with. I feel like I'm always dipping my fingers into my drinks or whatever I have just to get that color shift going. But yeah, this is just a stunning color. And then last but not least, we have the shade You Wonder Why, which is another black thermal. So in its cold state, again, we have this black base color, and then it actually shifts into this warm coral kind of shade, which I thought was really unique and definitely not what I expected, but I was very into it. So this one has kind of a combination of colors going on with the iridescent flakies. We've got some pink, we've got some red, we've got some blue, and a little bit of green as well. And this one did have a lighter color with the warm color shift. So I did end up applying 3 coats of it for full opacity, and this was another really beautiful one. I wasn't sure if I was going to be into the warmer color tone, but again, just something about having those flakies in there just makes it look like an opal, and I thought it was just so beautiful. Something about warm colors especially that have the iridescent flakies in there just look like beautiful precious stones to me, and I don't know, I can't get over it. So here are all of the polishes of the collection side by side, and as you can see, these are very dramatic color shifts. So we don't just have shifting from a darker blue into a lighter blue, that kind of thing. We really have like purple shifting into blue, black shifting into pink, green shifting into white, and I just think that that's so fun and especially dramatic. So if you are new to thermals, this to me is the most fun kind of color shift to play around with. And I love that not only are these thermals, but they also have the added excitement of the flakies in there. Shimmer is always fun to play around with, but when you're talking about these bigger flakies, especially when they're iridescent, it almost feels like they change colors as well, just because they look different depending on what base they're in. So it really adds another layer of dimension to it, which I thought was really incredible. These are definitely very sensitive colors, so they shift around a lot, which I thought was amazing. And I honestly think all the colors are really beautiful. If I had to pick a favorite, it would probably be a Strange Type of Chemistry, just because, you know, I can never resist a purple. But Hiding from the Real World definitely comes in as a close second, because that black to pink is very cool to me. But honestly, I love them all. I'm just experimenting with maybe sharing my favorites. So you let me know what you think. But anyway, let's talk a little bit more about it. So those are the swatches, and honestly, I loved these polishes. I love the color combinations, and I especially love the inclusion of those flakies in there, especially because with the iridescent flakies, as the color shifts of the base, it also kind of shifts the color of the flaky as well, and it kind of just makes it feel a little bit more dimensional to me. I think in general, Cadillacquer has such a reactive thermal formula, so it's really a lot of fun to wear and just kind of see the colors shift around. And even for someone like me who has short nails, it's always fun to wear thermals, because even though it doesn't always naturally do that little gradient that some people with longer nails get, I feel like some of my nails stay warm and some of my nails stay cold, so it always looks like I have like a couple of accent nails. And then if I'm like holding a cold drink or a hot drink, it'll shift around, and it's just fun. And I have to say, I was really impressed with the opacity of these. I feel like for me, I almost always do thermals in 3 coats, but the fact that some of these were only 2 coaters was just really impressive, especially because they had that more jelly-like formula. So I definitely appreciated that. I think that their formula is just incredible. But yeah, now let's get into pricing and availability. Like I said, this brand is based in Switzerland, but they do have international retailers. So I'm going to put a full list in the description based on whatever country you're in. But in the US, you can get them from What's Up Nails. They come in the usual 15 milliliter bottles and they retail for $15.75 USD each. I also saw that What's Up Nails has available for pre-order some of their other collections from 2024, including the Interplanetary collection, which was actually one of my top 5 collections of the year last year, and also their Halloween collection. So I know a lot of you have been asking me if there's any way to get those polishes once they're gone, but they are back in stock in pre-order right now. So if you are interested, I highly recommend grabbing them while you can. And yeah, like I said, this pre-order is running until January 12th, which is why I wanted to share these swatches with you, even though I'm still sounding like this. I do want to make a quick note about thermals just in case anybody is new to them. I find that over time they do eventually settle into one color. For me, most often I find that they settle into the cold version of the color. So while there isn't necessarily an expiration, they do stop being thermal color changing over time. So just something to keep in mind when you're purchasing thermal polishes. But yeah, I'm curious to hear your thoughts. What do you think of this collection? Which of the colors is your favorite? Are you planning on picking any of them up? Let me know in the comments. We can chat about it. If you enjoy my swatch and review videos, please hit that like button. It really helps me out. It lets me know I'm doing a good job. And if you're not already subscribed to my channel, I would really appreciate if you could subscribe. Despite this being a rocky start to the year, I do have a lot of fun videos planned. I love you all, and I'll see you all in my next video. Bye. Honestly, my throat is hurting, so I'm gonna skip the fun fact / would you rather for today, and I am just gonna edit this and then go back to sleep. But I love you all. Thank you all for being here. Like I said, Happy New Year, and I will see you all in my next video when I'm hopefully not sounding like this and feeling better. Bye.